y'all, it's JessicaRayPlays, and thank you so much for coming back to the channel. And welcome to the brand new episode of How to Wicked Whims. So I have been getting a lot of questions on how to download Wicked Whims and how to make it clean, or cleaner at least, so that way that I don't see all the extreme nudity and the extreme woohoos that they do. So today I'm just going to jump into this. I'm going to show you everything because I actually need to download it again. So first of all, go to Google because you know that's the easiest way to find it. All you gotta do is just type in right here, or Bing, whatever you want to use. Just type in Wicked Whims and hit enter, and it should be the very first one that pops up. So all you gotta do is just click on it, and it is a little much when you click on here, but all you just need to do is just go down to download, and then you go here to a sim file share, which is obviously the best thing you could do. And I'm just gonna go ahead and hit download. And then if you are a streamer or you upload videos, you need this extra little piece. Or if you just don't even want to see it, if you just don't want to see all the animations and all the extra funness that comes in this pack, you need to scroll all the way past all this stuff, and right here where it says extra packages, you need to click on the Wicked Whims censorship streamer mode, and it'll bring that up as well. And then you obviously want to go down here where it says download, and you're going to hit SFS, which is the sim file share, which is really the easiest one you could do, and you're going to go down to download as well. So then we're going to go up here into our show folder, or you can go into your download, whichever one is easier for you. And then obviously you see that right here it's a zipped file. It's a compressed file, so you actually have to, if you don't already have it, you actually have to go ahead and download a zip file service. I use 7-zip, so obviously I'm just going to click on it. I'm going to go to extract files, and then here it is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this package file that we have, and I'm just going to click on it, hold on it, and I'm going to drag it down, and I'm going to insert it into there. And then I'm going to double click on it. There's actually a bunch of stuff already in here, so we're going to take this one more time. We're going to put it into here again, and we're just going to go ahead and delete all that stuff. So here it is. Here's what it looks like once you get inside. And then next thing that we need to do is you have to make sure you really do this, is you just want to organize it by the name, which it kind of already was, but just to make sure, because you want the streaming mode in front of the tuning mode, or else you will be seeing every little naked bits there is. We want to take that say folder, and we want to just again click on it, hold it, and you can just transfer it into your mods folder just like that, and boom, it's already in there. And then you just can go back and go ahead and delete it. Let's say that you don't have your mods folder pinned over here like I do, so you just want to go here and we're gonna pretend this is that folder. You just want to go up here and you want to hit cut. You're gonna go into your document, electronics arts, Sims 4, then you're going to go into your mods folder. Then you're just going to go over here and you're going to right click, and then you're going to go down here and you're going to hit paste, and it will just bring it right up, and then there it is, Wicked Whims mod. And let's go ahead and load up our Sims 4 so I can show you all the settings that you need in order for it to be a little bit cleaner. So here we are in my game, and as you can see we've got our warning label, which tells us that we are in streamer mode. If you do not have this and you have streamer mode in your game, either you did not hit the name category and have them in alphabetical order, which threw off that tuning thing that I told you to make sure that you have. So if so, you'll have to actually get out of your game and restart it, go back into that and fix it, because if not, then obviously you're going to be seeing a lot of bitty bits, and you don't want that in your game. So I'm just going to hit OK, because obviously that's really good to know. That's what we want. And I'm actually going to be just in my little Perry household. So in order for us to get into our settings, which is very important, because we want to make this as clean as possible, you can literally click anywhere. You can click on him, you can click on the floor, you can click on the house, you can, well, you can't click on the house, you can about click anywhere and it will bring up Wicked. So you're just going to click on that, and you're going to go into the little gears where it says settings, and just click that, and then we are going to jump right into nudity settings. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that the naturalism and exhibitionism switch is turned off, because we don't want to be seeing all the nudity skills and the autonomy and all that stuff. Like, especially if you want it to be clean and, you know, streamer friendly or just you friendly, you just want to go ahead and leave that there. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into outfit undressing settings. So once you get into here, you want to leave this unchecked because we actually don't want our Sims using underwear and undressing to underwear. And then for teens, especially if in your game, for me personally, I'm going to leave it turned on just because if you don't know about my Perry household, he was actually a teenager when he actually had his kids. So for me, I'm going to leave it on because obviously, you know, teens, they do have some woohoo sessions. So I think that that's more realism for me. But obviously if you want to keep it more clean, you can turn it off and that will obviously disable it for your game. And then respect children's eyes. I do have that checked because kids aren't really seeing that. Just go somewhere else. It's not that hard to do. So then we're going to go into undressing behavior settings. So then in behavior undressing settings, basically you just want to leave all these checked because obviously at least these 4 at the top, and I'll get to the next 2 in a minute. You want to make sure you have those checked because obviously if you're taking off your top, you want to take off your gloves. If you're taking off your bottoms, you should take off your shoes. If you take off your sock, you should take off your leggings. I think that's just, you know, pretty simple, especially if you're changing. So for the peeing undressing switch, you actually want to uncheck that. Your Sims don't need to undress their pants when they're going to pee because it's already, they kind of already do that naturally in the game. They don't need to take off all their clothes to literally go pee. Like, that's a little unnecessary. Breastfeeding, I do have it checked, but obviously you can uncheck it and it can just do what it does in the game. For me, I probably will just go ahead and just uncheck it because, you know, I want to keep as much as the game aspect as I can and not have Wicked Whims completely ruining my game. So we're back where we started and we're going to go to advanced outfit settings. So we're going to go into complete undressing type. I got it as special and it's just select to use the Sim, use their current outfit as a base. When undressing, you can do default. That would be their bathing suit. So I just did special because I figured why not. The next one is dress up in advanced switch. So yes, do have that checked because obviously you would want your in the buff Sims to dress up before going to their destination. That's probably a really good idea unless they're going to a kind of party where, you know, you don't anywhere or it's a clothes optional. But for me, I do want my Sims to dress up. And you want your Sims to dress up when going off their lot. So yes, we need to make sure that that is checked as well. And the rest of these, you can go ahead and just check them. Basically, it's just saying that if there's any signs, obviously that influences if they're going to be allowed to have any nudity or not, which those signs come along with the pack. So there's nothing really big about it. Just make sure that all those are checked. And let's just go ahead and go to our next one. Okay, so then we are back in the nudity settings where we all started. And we're going to go into the occurrence and autonomy settings. We're just going to click on that. So if you want to keep this clean, I would suggest you to unclick this, but it's really up to you and it's up to, you know, who you are as a person. If you want a little bit more tea in your life, then you can click it or unclick it. It's really up to you. It just says that, you know, your Sims can join in the fun. And then obviously I am going to have this checked for sure because like I said, we need to respect undressing in front of children. And then autonomy respects underwear. If you as a person, you get naked, obviously you're going to get down to your underwear first before you go down to, you know, just your birthday suit. So if you want some more real aspect in your game, I would definitely say to go ahead and check that because, you know, unless you just go completely commando in your life, then underwear is probably a good thing. Okay, so this is the occurrence specifics and it is just a random like wardrobe malfunction pretty much. And swimwear, like if your Sim goes out to the pool, they may have a wardrobe malfunction. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So just a little extra something that you want to add. Obviously, if you don't want that in your game, make sure that both of those are white. And then a towel missing, make sure those are white as well if you don't want any of that. But for me, I am going to leave it half unchecked because then it kind of like has a 50% chance that it may happen or may not, just to add a little bit more pizzazz to my gaming. So the next thing we're going to go into interaction outfit changing. And so in this part, you want to make sure literally all of these are white because basically we don't want to see any nudity when they're sleeping, working out in the water, doing yoga or massages. I mean, unless you want that in your game where they're literally getting naked for all those things, and obviously you can leave them green or half green, but for my game, I am going to leave them all white. The next thing we're going to go into is the autonomy specific. So for this one, the random no context undressing autonomy, we obviously want it stock white because I don't want my people getting naked without anything happening for any reason. So it's gonna be white. And this one, Embrace Nudity Club. I'll leave it half checked. I think that's okay. They can undress rarely at a club's gathering. Flash club autonomy. Check for Sims to flash others when at a flashing club gathering. I'm just gonna go ahead and uncheck that. And then this is for peeping toms. So yeah, so basically if you have ever witnessed Wicked Whims, you know that there is a person called Peeping Tom. He comes to your house and he peeps through your window, and sometimes he does bad things when he's looking through your window, which we are not going to mention. To avoid seeing that, I would suggest unclicking that. So let's go ahead and we're going to go completely out of the occurrence and autonomy settings, and we're going to go into the window peeping settings. So in my game, I don't really like the Tom peeping into my game. Like, that's just not my kind of style. I mean, obviously it does add a little bit more tea in other ones, but I'm just gonna go ahead and uncheck it because I don't want him to even come. And obviously when you uncheck it, it literally gets rid of everything else that you do. So basically we're done with that one, and then let's go into sweating settings. So then we're actually going to leave this one checked because I do like that realism of my Sims getting sweaty, and they can display sweat body overlay, so that's not a big deal to me. We're going to leave it checked. The nether region hair settings, so we're just going to go into that really quick. I'm going to uncheck it because obviously I want to keep it as real to Sims as possible, so we're just going to uncheck that puppy, and then we're just going to check that as well because, you know, we don't need to be seeing any of that in our game, especially when we're trying to make it clean. So then we're going to go into notification settings, then we're going to go into notifications visibility type, and we want the only autonomy notifications. So basically anytime that our Sim does stuff, it'll just give us a notification. If you want show all, literally it would show every single action. If your Sim got naked to take a shower, if your Sim got naked to, I don't know, change their clothes for a brief moment or whatever, it would show that. And I only need to be told when something is going down. I need to know that stuff in my game because that's the tea and I need to capture it. So then we're gonna go back out and we're gonna go into this right here, notifications household limit switch. I'm just gonna go ahead and check that. Why? Because I just want notifications of my household that I'm in. Only if we have it unchecked, it's basically going to be showing us notifications about all Sims, and I just need to know about my household. And then finally, the final setting of nudity is we're going to go down to cheats, and I suggest having both of these checked because obviously we want our Sims to respect nudity privacy, and I want my Sims to react to nudity because trust me, if I seen somebody showing their blue moon and everything else, yeah, I would react or do some kind of reaction, so I'm definitely going to have those checked. So let's go ahead and we'll jump out of this one and we'll go on to the next. So guys, we are finally done with nudity settings. That was it for that one. Wow, that was literally crazy. We've got so much more to go through. So we're going to go into the woohoo settings. Then the first thing we need to go into is a woohoo interaction settings. So obviously this is up to you if you want your teens to participate in woohoos or not. You can have that checked if you do. If you don't, uncheck it. I'm obviously going to have it checked because my Sims, in this episode, were teens when they woohooed and had 3 girls. So then the next thing we're going to go into is woohoo progression settings. And then the next thing we're going to go into is player woohoo duration. They obviously have some time when they doing this interaction, and it seems like it's forever. So obviously you can't uncheck this, but you can go down to this little arrow and you can change the time, like the real time. I'm literally just gonna have it as 1 minute for my people because, you know, they don't need to be doing it more than that. The next thing that we're gonna go into is a woohoo progression. There's a reason why I have it set as 1 minute. That way it just doesn't take as long to go through the list of the animations. So literally that's up to you too. You can actually disable it and, you know, they did their business, you know, they're done. That's up to you. We'll just go on because there's so much to go through. So then we're going to just go ahead and back out of the woohoo progression settings because literally the other ones are just not that big of a deal. So we're going to go into outfit settings. This is how we obviously make it a little bit more clean. So let's go into outfit settings. And then we're going to go into Sims undressing type. And we're going to go into auto undressing, which just means that they automatically get undressed. But if you want to have a clean, more simmy way, you can obviously just do they will not undress automatically. So once we go into our Sims undressing type, we go into NPC Sims dressing type, and it's literally just the same thing, just basically what we just did is up here. So we can just go ahead and go down to auto dress up. So we actually want this to be fully green because when they finish, we want them to dress themselves up. I think that's very, very, very important. And then for this one, we want to go ahead and just uncheck it because we don't need any of the extra bits in our game. So let's just go ahead and we're going to go back out. We finished our outfit settings and now we're going to go into our advanced woohoo interaction settings. So the next thing we're going to go into is the woohoo initiation settings. And the talk and walk we definitely want checked because obviously I don't want my Sims just teleporting somewhere and woohooing right out of location. I think it's be good to have a little talk and walk session before they, you know, start the clap. Oh my gosh, was that bad? I'm just going to leave this unchecked because I don't have any height slider mods in my game, so that's not really a big deal to me. And then for the rest of these, you can just go ahead and uncheck them because obviously we don't need any of that stuff. And then the next thing we're going to go into is the woohoo animation duration settings. And then you can obviously have the default just checked and it will just be checked for you, so it's not a big deal. So now we are done with the woohoo interaction settings. And then we are finally moving on to autonomy settings. So I am actually having mine autonomy switch checked because I think it's a pretty good idea, especially if you download Woohoo and you want more spice in your game. You definitely want to have this checked. It just means that they will just freely do it and you don't have to make them do it, which is actually really, really good for me. But if you don't want that in your game, go ahead and uncheck it. And then we're going to go right on down to the next one. So basically you can do low intensity, which is less frequent Woohoo sessions, default. Basically it's just how much Woohoos they're going to be doing. So the next thing we're going to go into is autonomy triggers. This is where it gets a little bit crazy, so let me just go ahead and show you everything real quick. Okay, so if you want a very clean game for this one, I would advise you to literally go through here and uncheck them all. But if you want a little bit of spice in your game, I would definitely check the random woohoo switch. Just, you know, it lets them perform woohoos randomly throughout your game. And then the joining woohoo switch, you know, if there's an existing woohoo session going on, you know, quadruple it or whatever. For me, I think I am going to go ahead and just uncheck it for my game because that's a little much for this game. Romance conversation. If they're having a romantic conversation, they can go ahead and initiate from there. So I think that's obviously a pretty good one if you're doing a lot of romance. And then the rest of it, I went ahead and unchecked for solos. We just wanted to do with that. I don't have a club, so I unclicked it. I don't want any peeping toms coming in, so we just unchecked those as well. And then we're going to go into autonomy awareness is our next one. So in the autonomy awareness, obviously you want to go ahead and check for your player sims to participate in the woohoo autonomy because obviously it's a good way for wicked whims, especially if you want that little extra T. Obviously if you don't, uncheck it. For the next one, you want to uncheck it because obviously you don't want your player to be joining in any existing woohoos that are going on. So for this one, it says check for sims to stay faithful for their partner and not have woohoos with others. For me personally, that's where the spice comes in, so I unchecked it. If you want to keep it clean, go ahead and check it. So then the next one is to check for NPCs sims to avoid woohoos if they have a high chance of getting pregnant. I have it checked because I figured some people will probably don't want their NPCs to get pregnant, but obviously I wouldn't mind if my NPCs get pregnant because I feel like that just adds more livelihood in the game. So I'm just gonna go ahead and uncheck that. And this one just basically lets you and your game know and remember locations that were used. So I just got it checked. I have this one unchecked because I just figured that the animations I don't really care about as much. Block around children, definitely have that checked because I obviously want to respect if there's children on the lot. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip over the autonomy specifics because literally all you gotta do is just enter in how much you would want to see those things and how much you don't want to see those things. So that's definitely something that I feel like you can do yourself. We're going to go ahead and go into ask for woohoo dialogue settings, and I want the display NPC asking my player for woohoo because obviously I can ask my player for NPCs and I can ask my player to player, so you know, definitely adds a little bit more pizzazz to my game if non-players are asking my person to go ahead and do the deeds. And then finally we're going to go into the NPC woohoo duration like I had with my other one was on 1, so I'm just going to go ahead and make it 1 as well. And then the final one in this is obviously the autonomy notifications. If you want to be alerted that something's going down, you want to have that checked. If you don't want to be alerted when it's going down, you can uncheck it. But obviously, if you have this in your game, it'd probably be a good idea to, know that, especially if it's your Sims, because you want to know if maybe there's a chance for a baby or anything. So now we are finally done with the autonomy settings, and let's go into gender settings. So when we go into our gender settings, I have all of these unchecked. It doesn't really matter to me. You can definitely check them if you want to. For the gender recognition type, I have the gender identity based, but if you are more freely in your game, obviously anything goes. That's just totally up to you on what you want to do for your game. Then we are moving right along to the STD settings. Crab lice is kind of crazy. It adds a little bit more something in your game. If you want to have it checked, go ahead. I think I will just for the little bit more tea. Crab lice infested bedding. I am going to uncheck that just because that's a little much. And then we're going to set a number of population percentage that will become crab lice sleeper agents. 18 is a pretty high for my game. I think I'm going to put it down to 10 or maybe even 7. I think that's a pretty good number. The chewing settings. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we are going to uncheck those because we don't want those in our game, especially since we're trying to keep it clean. Let's go ahead and go into other settings. So the default settings, we obviously want the woohoo option on there, and it's already checked. And we are finally on to cheats. To always accept the woohoo that's being offered, half and half would probably be a good one to go ahead and check, just because, if you're always rejecting, I think it depends on the sim that's asking, and it just adds a little bit more realism to it, and that way it's, you never know if you're going to be rejected or not. And then the rest of these I'm just going to leave unchecked, and we're going to go ahead and go into advanced cheats. For the first one, I am going to have checked. Obviously, if you do uncheck it, you're preventing your Sims needs and motives from delaying when they're in woohoo, and that's just not real. Obviously, you're going to get hungry, thirsty, whatever. So I'm just going to leave mine checked. And for this one, it's just to prevent Sims relationships from changing. And obviously, if you have it checked, it's going to change from woohoos, and I think that's real in real life. So I'm going to have mine checked. And for this one, we're obviously going to have it checked because we want to prevent Sims from seeing other people woohoo. And then we're going to have this one checked because obviously we do want our Sims to react. And then this one, obviously we're going to have it checked. That's just totally not in our wheelhouse. We're not doing that one at all. And then for teen pregnancies, obviously we want that checked because we want a reaction. I definitely feel like if your teen got pregnant, you should have a reaction, or at least some type of reaction, good, bad, what it may be. And then that's it for the woohoo settings, thank goodness. And we are on to the pregnancy settings. So in our pregnancy settings, we're going to go into pregnancy mode, and I definitely am going to do the simple mode because I don't really care about menstrual cycles in my game. That's what I got Slice of Life for. And if you want disabled, which makes your Sims not get pregnant at all, and that's not real, so I'm going to use the simple mod. So in here, you can go into player Sims pregnancy chance, and this is the percentage that they can get from woohooing or doing that way. So right now it's actually set at 1. I definitely think maybe 40% would be more accurate, or we could even knock that down to about 20%. And then we can go into the NPC pregnancy chances, and we're going to do 1% for them. So birth control settings, once we get into here, we're going to go into birth control accuracy. We're going to use the realistic mod because obviously if we did the perfect mod, it just means that birth control is 100% successful, and that's not real in real life, so I'm going to do the realistic one. And the same thing goes for the NPCs. Whatever they want to use, we're just going to keep it on that as well. And then obviously we can leave this one checked as well because of birth control and all that stuff. So I'm just going to leave that checked just to add a little bit more protection based in the game. And then pregnancy duration, obviously we want it at 3. That's just how it goes. And then check to display extra pregnancy notifications. It is checked. I have never seen this one before, but I'm just going to leave it on there. Alright, and we're finally moving along to relationship settings, guys. We're getting there, we're really getting there. So personality settings, we're going to go into it. You can leave these checked just because it shows you their impressions, it shows you their personalities. We're going to go into the attractiveness settings, especially if you downloaded this mod for the attractiveness feature, which is a really reason why I wanted to download it. You would want all three of those checked because obviously you want that in your game and you want it to affect your Sims in every aspect of the game. Open relationship mod, it says to check to unlock romance interaction for multiple parties in marriages. I'm gonna leave it unchecked. So for the romance and age restrictions, I'm just going to keep it unchecked because I actually want to keep the romance interactions the same way that they are in the game. If you want a teenager to have a relationship with a young adult or anything, or have romance with them, I would suggest you check it. But if you want to try to keep it strictly to how it is in the game, I would advise just to leave it unchecked. And then this one was already checked when I came into the game, so I'm going to leave it alone. And the next thing finally we're going to go into is cheats. So for these, obviously, these two we're going to leave checked just because we want jealousy on for the cheating behavior. I think that's really good. That adds some more tea into the game. Obviously, we're leaving this one unchecked. Unless you are into the incest things, then go ahead and click on it. But no thank you. We're unchecking that puppy. And then finally we're going to go into settings control because I'm going to export all of my savings that I have saved, and that way they can be used in different worlds and everything else, because especially when you load into different games, your saves that you do sometimes don't get saved. So let's just go ahead, I'm definitely going to export them that way, just in case they're all backed up and I don't have to go through that all again. And it can be loaded in using the import settings menu, and so the next time that I go into a new save file or I go into an existing save file, if something is off, I can just go into import my settings, and then there it is right there, and then I don't have to go through and do all of that again. So that is it for that feature. So I know that this is supposed to be for Discover University, and it's just a little bit more tea. So actually when you go down here, that this is his girlfriend, and he actually thinks Alexandra is basic looking, which is actually kind of funny because that's the whole reason why I downloaded it. And if we go over here to Hazel, he thinks she's very unattractive, and this is actually his baby mama, and he thinks that she is basic looking as well. And this is the woman that he's actually been, hitting up and talking to a lot, and he thinks that she is actually basic looking as well. So that will be it for this video. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comment section down below. If you are new, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. It does just help our little village to grow, and make sure you hit that bell. It just sends you notifications so that you never miss one of my uploads, and make sure you give this video a big sweet thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for your support. It really means the world to me, just having you sit down here listening to me, watching my videos. I love you all. Bye. Mwah.